Welcome to episode number 2, the different types of home renovation mortgage loans. It's Joe Rychowski here of Mortgages with JR of Mortgage Network Solutions. And I first want to thank all of you for the amazing support that we've received in launching this video series. We launched this video series about 5 days ago on Sunday, and we've had over 400 views on the first episode, and we've seen it shared in various Facebook groups, and I saw a couple Facebook messages go around that the video is being shared through there. So it's really cool to see that, and we're real excited. We've gotten a lot of comments and questions and follow-up items. So we're going to incorporate these into the video series, and we're really, I think, just getting started, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride. And here we go, episode number 2. We're going to break down the different types of home renovation loans. You're going to hear terms like HomeStyle Reno, Conventional, FHA 203K. So we're going to help you understand the different types of loans, what makes sense for you, and we're also going to talk about what's eligible, what's not, what you can and can't do. So I'm going to go ahead and get Brandon all fired up here, and let's get started.
All right, everybody. Welcome to episode number 2 again. And we're going to be talking about the difference between the home renovation mortgage loans. I got my special guest here, Brandon Baker from Home Point.
Thank you.
Welcome back again, Brandon. This is it's been a lot of fun so far.
No, absolutely.
It's been great. So let's dig right into it. So I know we've got 3 main types of renovation loans. You've got the Fannie Mae HomeStyle, which is a conventional, and you've got the FHA. You've got the FHA 2 to 3K standard, and then FHA limited. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah,
Okay.
FHA kind of breaks up their renovation program into 2 different styles: the limited and the standard.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and Fannie Mae just keeps their home style as the home style. So,
Right. So what's the main difference? If I were to look and say, I'm a buyer, do I go the Fannie Mae conventional or FHA? Like, what's the real main difference between both?
Well, main difference comes down to credit guidelines, because how you come across the renovation portion of it is the exact same whether it's a home style or it's a 203K. So
Right.
if your borrower qualifies for the 203K or FHA, then they'll qualify for the 203K. So it kind of depends on which direction you want to take them.
Right.
When it comes down to credit guidelines, they're the exact same. There's no
Right.
real specific overlays for each of the products, be it non-renovation or renovation. So if your borrower qualifies for the FHA, again, they'll qualify for the 203K. If they qualify Fannie Mae home style, there's no real overlays. So.
Right. Right. And that's a good point. And that's mostly what I tell borrowers too, because a lot of them will have that question. They say, well, what do you have? We have these types of rental programs. And the first thing is, well, what's really the difference? And I really go to the point of, okay, we need to sit down and do an intake and figure out, okay, what's your goal and what makes sense here? Because there's some different qualifications for, the conventional versus FHA. And, at that point during the intake, we can definitely figure that out.
Exactly. And after that's figured out, what decides afterwards is the depth and scale of the
Right.
renovation. Since with the 203K limited, it is limited in scope and scale on what can be done with that. So
Right.
First and foremost is for a limited, the total renovation amount cannot exceed $35,000, or there cannot be any structural items. That's FHA does not allow any kind of structural or foundational repair with the 203K limited.
Right.
If any of that goes above, or there are structural, then you go into 203K standard.
Right. Exactly. And that's the main difference, right?
Yeah.
Standards, really, you're looking at potentially structured type things and some changes to the place. Now, could that work for maybe like a little addition or something? If I want to maybe add a sunroom? Yeah.
Absolutely. That 203, the standard 203K is for really those large scale projects. Like you said, adding a sunroom, adding an addition.
Right.
I've even seen second floors added to homes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Really, the sky's the limit. The only thing that FHA does not allow with the 203K, they term them as luxury items,
Right.
which is such as installing swimming pools, large stone barbecue pits.
Right. Right.
Those are not allowed with the 203K. Other than that, with the luxury items, there's
Yeah.
really nothing you can't do with
Yep.
with that. Now, home style Fannie Mae keeps it easy as long as it's permanently attached to the property. You can you can pretty much do anything. That's the one where if somebody just wants to install a swimming pool, the home
Right.
style's the perfect way to go.
Yeah, and that's interesting you bring that up, because I think a lot of people, when I sit down with them and I talk to them, okay, let's look at FHA, and some people have said, hey, can I add potentially a pool, or can I add some items in the backyard? I remember last year I had somebody was talking about maybe adding like a tennis court or a little volleyball area or something like that, and I said, well, if you're looking at something like that, then you want to go to the Fannie Mae conventional HomeStyle Reno, because FHA doesn't allow that. So,
Yeah.
if I go FHA, can't put my swimming pool, but I go conventional.
There's a program for you.
Exactly.
On that one.
That's a good point too. You bring up the amount. So what's the maximum total loan amount for each? Let's say.
Well, really, it goes to the conforming limit. The it can be a high balance in some counties, or the standard conforming limit. Now, you bring up a good point with that. So some people think that maybe the renovation is limited by that loan amount, but it's not. Your loan amount's limited. Your renovation can go above and beyond that. The problem is that the borrower has to bring cash to closing to make up that difference. Anything above and beyond that maximum conforming limit is cash to close.
Right.
But other than that, it's just a combined amount. So.
Right. Now, thinking minimum repair amounts, now there is a minimum for each program, correct?
There, for the home style and the limited 203K, there is no minimum repair.
Okay, gotcha.
For the standard 203K, FHA sets a minimum of $5,000.
Okay.
So, and it's so funny because I've had that come across, because with the 203K, if there's any kind of structural or foundational repair, like due to a sinkhole in the case I'm thinking about, even if that's under $35,000, it still requires a standard. And so I had a situation where the corner of a home was sagging and needed to be elevated with a pier, but the cost to do it was only going to be like $3,500. So you're in that standard where they could only qualify for the FHA.
Right.
So what they had to do is actually add items onto the bid to get it above that $5,000 limit. So they just ended up retiling their kitchen. So
hey, it's a win-win basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's definitely a good point, because I've heard a few people say, well, I just want to do some cosmetic things, just upgrade the kitchen, and in some cases I've even had some deals where we just did that one where it was a little bit above the 5,000, and we were a little bit concerned of looking at that, and then I think we just wound up taking it the HomeStyle Reno, which was a little bit easier to had more flexibility to that.
Oh yeah. And with the no minimum, with the 203K limited, that's a lot of the times you come across that using that program. If it started out as a standard FHA 203B, usually if when the appraisal comes back, and if there's cost to cure items on there, you can add that on that 203K. I'm like, how many deals have you or any realtors lost deals because of the inspection? Say, well, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Well, with the 203K, a lot of it just easily flips. Again, credit guidelines are the same. So if your borrower qualifies for the 203B, chances are they're going to do the 203K.
Right.
And the 203K allots for in any of the renovation programs, allots for those items. All you need to do is get a bid to repair those cost to cure items, and that's it. So you close, you continue on, you close without the borrower or the seller making those repairs, especially if it's like a HUD home, or REO. The chances are they're not going to make the repairs for you. So
and that's a great point you bring up too, because I've run into that situation too, where the seller says, hey, I just don't want to do this, and we've said, okay, well, talk to the borrower, and why don't we do a 203K? So we had a regular FHA loan going, and some of these things came back, and they're like, well, I don't know how to do that. We went through it and got it done early last year, and they added some other things, and seller didn't have to do it. So it's a great selling point if they're
Absolutely.
seller agent out there and seller. You might not have to do the repairs. Look at a 203K, especially if you know the
Yeah,
place needs a little bit of TLC and some work.
absolutely. You
Yeah.
shouldn't lose a deal anymore
Yeah.
with the due to the inspection.
Right. Now, talking about, we've obviously talked about what you can and can't do, types of repairs and things like that. So what are the eligible properties in these programs? So let's start with the Fannie HomeStyle Reno, the conventional. Like what are the properties that you can do this on?
Okay, you can actually do any kind of property that is eligible. You have like the single family residence,
Right.
the HUD REOs are probably on there. Multi-units. Now, when you get into multi-units with the home style, Fannie Mae kind of limits what they can do
Right.
as far as LTV standards. And to be a multi-use property, one of those units has to be owner occupied. It's only primary residence for the multi-unit.
Gotcha.
They can do, the beauty about the home style is that you can also do investment properties and second
Yep.
home. It's limited to single family residences for that, but you can do that. You can do
Right.
condominiums. Some you might check with your lender because you can do multi-use properties with it, and you can do mobile homes, but not every lender offers that property type.
Yep.
So,
And that's what I tell borrowers is that, with us being a broker shop, we have the ability to look at multiple lenders. Obviously, we love using you guys because you guys do such a great job with it. But when you look at it, there are some times where one lender might not have the availability to do it. There might be somebody else that can do it. And that's a great point, too, is the investment property piece that you bring up, because I do come across a lot of people here in Delaware and Pennsylvania who are looking at investment properties. So you can definitely do that. You can do a reno for an investment property. Some of them, have contractors already and they know they need to do work. But to me, I've told them, why not throw it into the loan? I think it makes it much easier.
Oh, absolutely. It gets done quicker and you have a professional doing it.
Yeah.
And with the 203K, the same kind of property types, except there is no, when you get to the multi-unit, it's still owner occupied only.
Right.
But it's not limited with the LTV as it is with the home style. So you can still do for a purchase as long as up to 4 unit, as long as the borrower is residing in one of those units, you can still do for a purchase 96.5%.
Right. That's great. And that's a great thing too, is with, FHA, if you're looking at this, it's still, the 3.5% down. Now I know conventional, typically you're looking for the Fannie Mae about 5% down. So
yeah, absolutely. And one thing to keep in mind with the 203K property types, there has to be a certificate of occupancy for at least 1 year.
Gotcha.
With the home style, though, you can actually do new construction, but Fannie Mae puts a caveat that it has to be 90% completed. So if you have a builder that happened to ran out of money, or we get the case a lot where a borrower is building their own home and ran out of money.
Right.
They can finish the home even if there hasn't been a certificate of occupancy, but they can only finance that remaining 10%.
Gotcha. And that's a great point too, is so if you got somebody that maybe has started repairs or had somebody and like you said, they ran out of money or something may have happened. So one of these programs would definitely be good for that. And especially, in the case of refinance, you could do this for refinances. So if you're in a home for a while and you've got some equity potentially, and look at doing one of these and making the home really nice.
Absolutely. Take advantage of those repairs that you've always wanted to do but didn't think you could afford. So now you just roll it into your financing.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing is people don't realize you can do the refinance for all these programs. You can be in the home. It just doesn't have to be a purchase, and I think that's a huge advantage for people. Instead of like we talked about going out and getting multiple contractors, it's all housed under one thing. And I think what I like about the programs are it's all more. I feel like it's more of a controlled environment. Versus, I'm going out and getting contractor A for, painting. I'm getting contractor B for the roofing. This, to me, it makes it nice and tidy. It's like a nice bow. You just unwrap it. And here we go. Yeah.
And contractors don't have to worry about getting paid because the money's there in an escrow account. So as they do the work, they get paid. So they don't have to worry about the borrower running out of money. It's right there.
Yeah, exactly. And you bring up a lot of those good points too that we'll be talking about in the future episodes. Is how does the process work, the flow? How does it work for the contractor? Especially, when you get into some of the structural repairs, you're going to need a HUD consultant, and we'll explain that as well too. And it'll be great. But I think this was great. I think this is really good, kind of getting it out there what each program does and some of the do's and don'ts and what properties are eligible. So
absolutely,
yeah. So thank you for episode 2 here, everybody, and we'll see you next week for episode 3.
Sounds great.
Right. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Joseph.
Yep.